It is. I am. Hello and welcome to Tuesday Night TerrorVision, everybody. I'm Pete, your host. Right here beside me is Mrs. Co-host to you. It's Trina.
Hello, I'm happy to be here. Looking forward to this review with you guys.
Absolutely, absolutely. And let us welcome back to the program. Great friend of the program, just a great friend in general. Ladies and gentlemen, he's a great guy. Is a wealth of knowledge in all things comics. So you need to check out his channel because he doesn't get to do much horror on his channel. That's why he comes over here to hang out with us and talk horror. Because he does a lot of comic stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, J-Man's back on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me back on.
Absolutely, man.
Excited.
Glad to have you because we are talking about another Dario Argento, a Giallo film. Tonight is The Bird with the Crystal Plumage from 1970, and I apologize. I wasn't able to grab a title card as I was running behind tonight as I was reading Wizard of Oz to my son. So
I love Wizard of Oz. I've read the first like 6 or 7 books.
I've got the adapted copy for young readers.
Oh, nice.
I've got a series of them, and it's still violent.
Like,
the Tin Man is chopping off wolves' heads and shit. Jesus Christ. They didn't have that in the movie.
No. TikTok is my favorite character. He's the Army of Oz. He was in Return to Oz, but he'll come in I don't know what book he's in, but he's like in the next second one or the third one. He's a cool character.
I'm like I said, now I want to actually read like the full on, like all the books now.
It's so good. And Henry go to Oz and live there. They actually do go. Like she gets them there at one point. I can't remember what book that was in, but yeah, it's crazy.
Damn. Because like Oz just floated away in the book. Like
they come back and it's all good.
He floated away in the balloon. You know, she missed the ride, and he's just gone. It's like he's a little bald guy.
Yeah, he's a little guy. Yeah.
He's a little. I was like, it's goddamn Vern Troyer. Like they foretold of his coming. Anyway, The Bird with the Crystal Plumage is the topic tonight. And after we're done here, I kind of want to talk because we do have J-Man about the Damien Leone situation on Twitter. And if you guys haven't seen, I did a video on it earlier. I know you guys are like, holy shit, he released a video. I know it's the first one in like 3 months. I had time today. Well, I'm doing something new with when I do videos like that. And I'm not going to be, like I said, I was on camera for like a minute or two at the end. That was it. And, you know, I'm minimalizing things to expedite the process a bit. And the reviews, trust me, the reviews will still be the way they normally are. When I do have time to do one of those, which I know I still owe you guys Halloween Resurrection, which was supposed to be done the end of October, but that's neither here nor there nor anywhere. All right. So this is Dario Argento's first movie. This is the first
that he directed.
Yes. Yeah. His first movie he directed. And J-Man and I were talking a little bit about this off air before we started, Trina, before you jumped in. And I really enjoyed this. I didn't think there was any. Hang on, let me blow you up here so we can show that off.
There's the 4K. I really want the picture that you have in your thumbnail. I really want that version. They did 3 different covers, and this is the only one I could get, so it is what it is. But
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, the art on all 3 covers was cool. The Italian cover looked great too.
Is good. Yeah, Trina posted that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
What were your initial thoughts about this one, Trina?
Oh, I loved it. It was fantastic. It's
Yay.
yeah. I am really digging these Argento movies.
Right?
I'm so glad that J-Man got us into these because
Yes.
I don't think I would have gotten into these otherwise. I really don't.
No.
But yeah, I just everything about it. I love how again it's another like horror and thriller.
Mhm.
How it's very like there's a lot of story to it and it's still got the horror elements in it. It's very well done. Well acted, well told. The story itself is fantastic. I just
Yeah.
loved it.
And this was my thing with it. And it's not really a gripe because, and this is what we talked about, J-Man, there wasn't as prevalent of a score as in Tenebrae.
Yeah.
You know, the score was almost a character in the movie in Tenebrae. You know,
Yes.
you said, Jay, we got little snippets of it here and there.
Yeah.
But it wasn't full on to where it like took over the scene. You know,
right.
But it didn't really detract from the movie for me, not at all. And I like the way it's like there was a writer. You know, you got a writer in Tenebrae.
Yes.
This guy is a writer. I'm like, I see. You know that it's because we've seen the bookends now for these, basically, right?
Yeah,
we've
sort
seen
of
the bookends, kind of.
Yeah.
And this is part of a trilogy, right?
No, not really. The trilogy is Suspiria and Inferno and Mother of Tears.
Okay.
Those aren't they're not Giallo, they're Argento, they're Giallo adjacent because they have some of the stuff, but they're mystical.
Okay.
So those are mystical ones. So they still have the ultra gore. They still have like sort of a guy, like, you know, a little, not really a mystery as much as like there's a mystery, but the outcome is more supernatural. Like they're literally witches, you know, and stuff. So there's like more magical things. This is like grounded. This is more slasher. This is a slasher Agatha. It's Friday 13th meets Agatha Christie, I guess. I don't know how else to. How else would you describe these?
That's pretty much it. I mean, that's a pretty accurate description of what we saw. Trina, do you want to go ahead and take the lead? You want to run? Is there anything you want to start with in particular?
Well, there was one thing that I noticed right off the bat from our last review. What was the name of the movie the last movie we did?
Tenebrae,
yeah.
Tenebrae.
How right away you see the gloved hands.
Yeah.
I was paying attention to that list you gave us of like
yes.
Yeah. So that like I made note of that and that was fun to see. And I love how it opens, you know, the killer writing on the typewriter and everything and it says, you know, like where we're headed and everything. And I love the opening and that. It was a fun watch. It really was.
I like it starts immediately with, again, your gloved guy. You've got your foreigner who's just a regular guy who's going to get entangled in this mess of a mystery. Yeah. In this one, though, he's literally immediately involved and like he sees the struggle with the they're calling her a blonde. She's more reddish to me, like reddish.
Yeah,
like
I was.
He said blonde. Yeah, but whatever. She's struggling with this guy. We know from the police reports that there's been some killings and it's all of a sudden like, oh my God, she's stabbed. And when he gets trapped, you're like, this is so good. Cause like, he can't do anything. It's like, he's right there and he can't do shit. He can't even talk to people. And then some random guy comes like, oh, the police. It's like, they can't hear him. She's like, help me. Oh my God. And then it's the playing that back, you know, and there is a twist obviously, but like the twist is absolutely friggin' awesome. I loved that. And then he replays the scene and then finally he sees like, wait a minute, oh my God, it's not what I thought, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was great. But yeah, right away, it's like immediately murder. He's stuck in the situation, and you're also in his place immediately. I think this one is better than Tenebrae in this aspect of you feel you're with him more because you, the viewer, know that he's not the killer, but the cops don't necessarily know that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? So you're automatically like, hey, no, he's not the killer. So you're on his side. And then they take this passport. He's like, oh, can I just see your passport? He's like, yeah, you're going to stay here for a while. I was like, what the shit? And then you're like, what the heck? This guy's stuck. And then as the mystery is being solved, you're solving it with him because you're learning along with them. It's a little bit more mystery solving than there is in Tenebrae. Tenebrae is more like the story is being presented and we're kind of watching all of this take place. This year, I feel like you're slightly more proactive because like they go to it's like he does what you would do. You know, it's like you sit there with your husband or your wife, you're like, okay, well, let's take a look at the victims. And it's like, okay, who's the first one? Oh, this girl. Okay, where'd she work? And they're literally doing what any one of us would do if we were involved in this. It's like you can't go to the computer and start looking for stuff. There's no computer. So you start going to the newspaper clippings and, you know, oh, she worked at that pawn, you know, antique store. Okay, well, let's go to the antique store. Maybe there's something there. It's literally you're following it along, meeting these weird characters like Catman and Pimp Guy. And
that was the most unlikely pimp I have ever seen represent. And I've met real life street pimps,
right?
And they're not like the ones you see on TV. Like this,
right.
You know, and this guy was hilarious.
Yeah.
The guy that worked in the gallery where what was his name? Was it Sam? Was that the main?
Sam is Sam is the protagonist.
Yeah, Sam. Yeah. When he went to the art gallery to buy to get he was looking in there, and the guy that ran the art gallery was like, he's like, I think she might like women. He goes, but I'm not a racist. I'm like,
yeah, what is it?
Like in 1970, if you didn't like lesbians, you were a racist. I'm like, what? Like that, it was just that caught me. I'm like, wait a minute, and I rewound it. I'm like, he did say that, okay. Yeah. But no, he was such an odd, like you said, these odd, like sidebar ancillary characters.
Yeah.
The cat guy. Oh my god.
The cat guy. That was the weird. He's the painter of the weirdest paint, and that painting is weird.
It is very weird.
And it's not just a weird painting to be there. It plays a factor, and it's the biggest factor of the movie. That it's like, no, that's what drove her insane, seeing that again, and hey FK, and then that literally like makes her identify with the villain of the painting. But even though she's the victim, Hake Wagner, she's the victim in the painting, but she transposes or whatever, like her mind into the killer of the or the assailant, and you're like, okay, that's interesting and kind of weird too. Like, I'm kind of jumping around to the end there, but I mean, there's so many weird things along the way that are just like coming across. And even when they did the voice, like when they you know, you get the trope of, oh, the killer calls, you better stay out of this, you know?
Yep.
And then it's like, oh, there's two voices. Oh, two voices. That's interesting. They're different. It's like, okay, it's two different voices. And then you've got that weird assassin that presumably the husband had hired to get rid of that guy. And it's like, he's this weird, that guy's in a lot of Italian movies. He's like that weird face guy. And then all of a sudden there's like a chase and he runs and mixes up with those bowling alley, with those bowling guys.
Right.
Like,
I'm like, are these guys church ushers or what kind of convention is this? I was waiting for him to like walk in and they all turn around and be like, hey, what's the matter, you?
What's the matter?
No. He's like, I'm looking for a guy in a yellow jacket. They all turn around. It's me. No.
It's me. Yes. They're all yellow jackets.
They're all yellow jackets. No. The chase scene was. It was. I was like, oh shit, you know. It was cool because I'm like, the guy looked odd. I'm like, because I'm like, is this isn't the guy from the beginning, like the art gallery guy, you know? I'm like, is it? Because it kind of looked like, and I'm just, he had an odd shaped face. And I say that as somebody with a watermelon head, myself. He did, or a potato, whichever, as long as I'm not Brian Stetler. But no, he was an odd looking guy. And he's got his little silencer on. Was it a Walther he had? Was that a Bond gun he had? Was it a Walther PPK?
Oh yeah, it could be.
It was that little small caliber handgun. But yeah, the chase scene was good. I kind of thought there was going to be like an actual like physical confrontation at that point. Like, is he going to like wait for him to jump over a wall and they're going to kind of tangle? But yeah, it was funny too when he stopped to ask people for directions. Like the ADR in this was really funny. In those were the most notable scenes. Were like the ancillary characters speaking because it was so clearly ADR.
Yeah.
And I know
the whole thing is dubbed over, even the English parts, right? So if you watch the Italian version, then those guys sync up nicely, and then Sam. To me, it's better to have Sam sync up since he's the guy you're following and you're identifying with him. So I'd rather his voice match, and then it just makes it makes the characters even weirder because it's like now all of a sudden none of their voice are matching, and Cat Guy's the best. He's eating cat, and he's like. And you see like when he offers him like cutlery and he's like wiping it.
Yeah.
Because it's gross. It's like, why are you fattening up these cats? It's like, oh, they taste better.
That part I was like, and literally I'm sitting there and my cat is on the kitchen island as I'm watching this. I'm just like,
get mouth watering.
I'm looking at Mr. Beans going like, you keep messing up, boy. It's gonna be you. Let's be honest, I got too much money into that freaking cat after having tiny stones removed for $3,000 from him, a surgery. Yeah, trust me, he's healthy now. He's bouncing all over the place, little shit. He's only 3 years old. But yeah, I'm looking at him going like, you don't fucking around and be dinner. You keep jumping into shit, man. He gets in the goddamn I open the refrigerator, he jumps in there. There's shorts on my channel of me like I was waiting for somebody to say that's animal abuse because he jumped in the refrigerator. I started my phone, started recording, closed the doors, and then opened it right back up. And I was like, the Chinese food's running away, and he ran away. He was in there for like 2 seconds. But yeah, he jumps up and I was like, God damn it, now I gotta wipe the refrigerator down because your little ass jumped up in there.
I noticed another thing common in this movie that we also saw in Tenebrae, which was we saw a transvestite in this movie.
Yes.
He has. Yep.
So does he put that in all of his movies?
I didn't know it was in Tenebrae until I got the whatever version which had a commentary and said it. I was like, oh, whoever did the medical work on the person in Tenebrae in the 70s did a good job because I thought it was. Who they appeared to be, but in this one, and they it's so weird. They're like, bring out the perverts, and it's like, and then they come out. The guy comes out and say, no, that's a transvestite. He doesn't belong with the perverts. You're like, what is happening? Cancel.
Yes. Well, that was actually, if you think about it, that was actually really progressive.
It was
very,
because he's like, no, he's not a pervert. He's just a transvestite.
Yeah. Yep, and the shop and the antique shop owner is gay. He's coming on to the guy, and that's why he comes out saying, "Oh, she's a lesbian, but that's okay."
I'm not racist.
And you can tell he's clearly gay because even in my notes I call him a space invader because he's like Sam is like trying to back away every time, trying to get like free space.
There's no crystal bubble.
No, none at all. None at all. And he's like totally all into Sam.
Oh yeah, he was. I was that was
great acting. That was good. That was great. I loved that.
So there's not a lot of gore. So another thing, this does have a lot of the gore is toned down. There really isn't that much. There's a couple of decent, like murder scenes. I mean, it is 1970s, so I mean, having someone come with the knife and she's nude, almost nude, and ripping the underwear and ripping the thing, that'd be pretty. I mean, that's Terrifier now, I guess, right, or whatever, right? That would have been back then. That would have been like, whoa, like what are we watching?
Absolutely, absolutely. That was definitely racy back then.
Oh yeah.
I mean, okay, so this came out in the 70s, so
Yeah.
they were probably filming it in like as
Late
early as
60s.
69.
Yeah.
So that was like really pushing the envelope back then.
And
Oh yeah.
we're at this point when this is released, we're still 2 years away from Last House on the Left, which
Oh,
is
wow,
a very, very
Yep.
aggressive.
Oh, that would be
in the SA department, as I have to abbreviate for YouTube monetization purposes, but because that and wasn't I Spit on Your Grave the original? Is that 70s or 80s? Because 70s.
Yeah.
Because the new one, I've never seen the original, but the new one, the SA scene in that is uncomfortable to watch. Like,
you got to see the original.
I have the original on DVD. I never saw any of the ones but the original one. I don't have much interest in the ones that came afterwards. It's just like, okay, we've got this movie, like it's already a famous movie.
Yeah,
it's weird. I don't like remaking it. Sorry.
Yeah, that's where I'm at as well.
I didn't know that there was a original at that point. I'd never heard of it. Yeah. And one of my buddies bought it and he's like, hey, check this out. So Erica and I were just dating at the time. So we're watching this at my parents' house with my dad. And we're just chilling. We're watching this.
What, I Spit on Your Grave?
Yes.
Oh my oh my God.
And it comes to that scene and we're all like,
oh my God.
Yeah.
Should we fast forward it? Like, this is uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like, wink, Martindale. Kiss my ass, Papa Cotton.
Well, this is still coming out in somewhat relatively mainstream. Like, I Spit on Your Grave. I don't know if you've heard of a movie called Baise-Moi. You look that one up privately. I saw that in the theater for F's sakes, and I have the novelization of it, which was based on a novel. But it's filmed by adult actors, so the R in question is actually fully shown because it's adult actors. So it's much more it's much more like worse than whatever anything else that you would have seen. But anyways, so like that, but again, niche audience, that's not really coming out in any kind of like regular theaters. I think these were coming out in somewhat like of a normal capacity, just saying, oh, violence, so be careful. And people must have been like, whoa, like probably would have been walkouts. Like nobody's walking out of I Spit on Your Grave because you wouldn't be in there unless you kind of knew what it was, right? Like, what you're watching, or Hills Have Eyes or Last House or any of those, what's going to happen. But this one, I think people are like, oh, because the thing what I like about these movies is that if you actually removed or really severely toned down, like pull a Friday the 13th Part 7 on these movies and cut it all out, you'd still have a really good thriller where you'd be like, wow, that was a really good story. Yeah, that was the cool part about it. And then you can make more gore or less gore depending on how Tenebrae has more gore, so you can add the gore, and then you please, I guess, two audiences, right? So that's the cool thing about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I want to talk about the characters more a little more. What Julie was Sam's wife's name, I believe.
Yeah,
it was Julie. She didn't get much development. She was pretty static through the movie. Still, I mean, the actress did a fine job. There was no issue with the performance. I was waiting for the scene with in the end where he's hacking the hole in the door and you see the eye. I was waiting for somebody to get a knife to the freaking eye. Like I thought it was gonna be her when she went back to the door. I was like, oh God, she's gonna get that bitch right in the eyeball, and it didn't happen. I'm like, oh, thank God.
Oh man, I was opposite. I was like, yeah. I wanted to see it right in the eye.
The eye stuff gets me. I'm like, oh.
So, no, that's why I wanted to see it.
so you both of you just said the eye thing, and as a coincidence, Cotton Ministries is that just wrote Lucio Fulci, and I have I have almost 90% of Fulci's horror movies. And of course I have Conquest, which was one of my favorites, which is a fantasy movie, but Fulci has an eyeball. So like in the Beyond, spiders come and eat this guy's eye. I think it was New York Ripper? New York Ripper has some pretty like slicing the eye in half and a lot of stuff like that. So Lucio Fulci is the eyeball attack guy. Dario doesn't really have as many of those things, but once eventually we'll try a Fulci and then you'll get your eyeball you'll get your eyeball fix.
I'm gonna cringe the whole way through it. Like,
oh, it's brutal.
I would rather watch Art the Clown skin somebody alive for 20 minutes than watch a spider eat somebody's eyeball.
Yeah, the spider on the eye was pretty good. That was the Beyond. I'm positive. That one I've got like a limited edition tin or whatever.
I remember that from the Beyond. That was fantastic.
You've seen Beyond. Oh, so there you go. Yeah. Oh, Beyond is awesome. That's a great. Yeah, that's a good one. Good soundtrack, I think, on that one. Beyond has good soundtrack too.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Drill to the eye. Yeah.
Stop it, Cotton. Stop
all these eyeball. There was, I think, Intruder had a good eyeball. They put it. What's the you have on your desk? You have those things that you put your bills through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So someone gets the and then I think the eye. I think that was from Intruder. I just got that on 4K not too long ago too. So
I'm trying to remember if that was in Intruder. I just remember. I think you're right. I do think you're right.
I'll look it up. But yeah, well, everybody remembers Bruce Campbell coming in at the end of it.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh, Bruce Campbell's in this movie, but it's like, no.
1 minute.
Yeah.
That's what I was buying every, like Sam Raimi, like any of those guys, like Mind Warp I got like Thou Shalt Not Kill Except, and that's where Sam Raimi's the villain. And it's like, it's so weird. I want some kill 3 eyeballs with a pencil. Is that?
I'm gonna make this pencil disappear.
Disappear. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But yeah, Suzy Randall? She was in a lot of movies. The girl who plays Julie. I'm not sure. She may have been a Bond girl or not. I can look it up. But she's been in a lot. She's a famous model. Eva Renzi, who plays the mad woman who's the killer. Mm-hmm. She was supposed to be a Bond girl, and her husband was being weird and kind of almost like she kind of like got talked out of it. She was supposed to be in this other movie, got talked out of it, so she ended up being the killer in this movie, and she actually resented it. She resents this movie because it prevented her, in her mind, her career from getting bigger, because she's like, this role was okay, but she wasn't in her mind, it wasn't anything special. But I thought she was great. She was a complete wacko at the end, dumping that. I've never seen it's like a sculpture painting thing with spikes in it. It's like some avant-garde, and it used as a weapon. Like it's like she knocks, and then she's like, and you don't see the killer play. She's playing around with them.
Yeah. I was thinking a cat and mouse game when they were doing that.
Yeah.
When that thing fell on him, I thought it spiked him. I was like, "Oh shit! Like he's gonna die.
Yeah.
Sam's he's gonna get off here," because I thought he got stabbed, but no, it's just kind of pinning him down. And yeah, she's toying with him like you said, like a cat with a ball of string. She's jumping on the thing. She slices his hand open, and then she's just stabbing the ground around him and kind of putting the knife in his face. I was like, "Oh shit!" And she's drawing back. All of a sudden, here comes I'm like, where the hell are the Keystone Cops?
Call the army. What's going on?
We get the sirens in this, the Italian sirens.
Yeah, they're so irritating.
Oh my God. I'm like, Eva Renzi. Yeah, she was 5'10". She was a very statuesque woman.
Well, yeah, it shows actually.
She was born in Berlin.
Yeah.
Berlin, Germany.
So the 4K has an interview with her talking about the movie and all that, and so that's where she says she wasn't very happy with the way her career went. But anyways, I thought she was awesome. Like
fantastic in this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like even the husband too. Like because as you're watching this, you're thinking, okay, who's the killer? You know, so.
Yep.
And when they say, oh, he's left-handed, and we know, you know, they're saying he's a certain height and whatever. There's a part. Sometimes this doesn't get subtitled, and it's subtitled on the 4K, but I don't think it was subtitled on the version that you guys have seen. There's a part where they have a computer, and the computer spits out information, and it actually spits out male, approximate age, height, approximate weight. It gives the it's like left-handed or whatever. So that's why when he's talking to the husband, he throws the cigarettes to him and he catches with his left hand, and he's like, oh, you're left-handed. You're like, oh shit, right? It's like, oh, it's the husband, you know, maybe it is the husband, right?
Yeah.
So that was kind of neat.
I was just going to say, on the version that I watched it on Amazon, and it had some subtitles, but on that part, when they were doing that, when they fed the data into the machine, and I remarked about it in my notes, the dot matrix man that I was like, this is fantastic, like we need to go back to that. But they didn't mention the height, so that was written in Italian, so I didn't know that, but they did talk about his other characteristics, and they mentioned the left-handedness. Yeah, so when he went to go visit him and threw the pack of cigarettes, I knew that's what he was looking for.
It was smart too, I mean, the guy's following the clues. And I like that they gave him a reason. They took his passport. They're like, well, we got to solve this. So he's like, okay, well, I'm going to try to solve it too so I can go home. Versus, at least in Tenebrae, you're the writer, the main character is getting letters. And, you know, we know he ends up being one of the killers anyways, but he gets like inadvertently involved in this thing. And then he uses that to his advantage to try to get rid of the people he wants and, you know, frame that other killer. But in this one, he's got a reason to solve it, and he's got to do it fast. And I like that. It's like there's a lot of random elements, like he's alone in this apartment. Oh, they're tearing it down. They're, you know, I've just got it for another week, and then they're tearing this place down. So he's isolated. It's like every character he encounters has a quirk or something weird, which makes them memorable to us, because you don't remember their characters. Like, oh yeah, the pimp guy, the cat guy, there's the weird antique shop owner guy. Like you never get that many side characters that are so different from each other that you're going to remember them. Like, I mean, a year from now, you're going to remember, oh yeah, that weird cat guy, like that guy, you know, he was a painter. You're not going to remember the character's name, but you'll remember, you know, like him.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great point. I've never even thought about that, how there's so many side characters in movies that we don't really think about, but in these kind of movies, especially this one, you really do focus on the side characters, and because they've all got some like weird characteristic. That is so interesting. I've never thought about that before.
And check this out. Every side character offers a piece to the puzzle. So there's a purpose for them to be in the movie. The antique guy mentions the painting. That's the clue. The guy gives you the origin of the painting. So that's important. That informant guy hears the bird sound and says, oh, that's this type of bird that is only at the zoo or whatever. Right. So it's like each guy gives an actual piece of information to lead you to something, at the same time being a potential killer themselves. Because they're like, you're never sure in a mystery. Is it someone is this a Agatha Christie whodunit? Here's all the characters I have to pick, or is it someone we haven't seen who's going to come in and be a surprise killer at the end where you couldn't have guessed it? This is one where you could have guessed it if you really. I mean, I don't know if you guys, like, when I first saw this, I was friggin' destroyed. I was like, oh my gosh, she was the killer. She was trying to kill him, because they used the Giallo's things against you, because the husband was in a trench coat and a hat. So you automatically assumed that has to be the killer because you saw the trench coat and the hat in the previous scene, whether it's one of the tropes of the series of the genre or not, doesn't matter. You saw that in the beginning, guy in a trench coat and a gloves. You're like, okay, he's the killer. And then you saw a guy trench coat gloves trying to kill this woman, you know, pretty girl. She's struggling. Oh, she's obviously all of your prejudices, all of the movie's setup is making you think it's not her, only for it to be her. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And that's the first director, and that's like, oh, we need more female, whatever. Listen, you got a female killer, first movie right away. First movie, female killer.
Yeah. And like we alluded to earlier, he was whether it was intentional or not, very progressive.
Oh yeah.
Which-
Oh, it was intentional, I think. Yeah, he's very pro what
well, you can see it, like you said, we've seen kind of the bookend.
Yeah.
So you can see that, okay, so this runs through, but it never takes you out of the movie.
Right, because it's just an antique shop owner guy.
Yep.
That's it. And he's a quirky guy. Okay, he's a quirky guy. There may have been people in that time watching that movie not getting that
Yes.
what he was hinting at, I bet, guaranteed, right? Because they're not
No.
even thinking. I didn't get the Tenebrae thing.
Yeah, because we're looking at it through a modern lens, and back then it wasn't so like it wasn't so you couldn't tell like like I don't know what is it that we just say, like we can just say, oh yeah, you can tell he's gay, or you know what I mean, like what is that?
I don't know. It's intangible. You can't really logically explain it, right? You're like, it's something. Well, maybe his voice is high. It's like, the mannerism, maybe he's very personable and he's just a little bit more feminine or whatever, right?
Yeah, or very friendly, or stuff like that. Like back then, they just thought that they were just different, or you know what I mean, like just had different characteristics.
They're like, is he gay or is he autistic? We're not sure.
I don't think they would have even had that. I don't know if they would have had that term.
Not back then.
I don't think they would have even had that. So they would have just known what it's like. Oh, he's a weird guy. That weird guy down there. That weird antique shop owner. Don't go to that antique shop.
That's like going to the bike shop in Webster. Never mind. Yeah. Anyway, damn it.
The painting.
Yeah.
It's pretty. It's really neat in the sense that like it's kind of it is disturbing, but not in an obviously disturbing way.
Yeah.
Like where it's like they're trying to make it overly disturbing. It's low key weird. It's just like this is weird. Like it's not like Terrifier sickening and oh my god, like I can't look at it. But you look, even when the girlfriend comes in, when Julia comes in, she's like, whoa, what the hell's this painting? She immediately is like, whoa, why is this here?
Yeah.
And
the detective did the same thing. I can't remember if he acknowledged it or not, but you could see him kind of look when he walked in right after he hung it up. He was like, and that put more suspicion onto Sam from the law enforcement, which
good point.
That's kind of what I'm like. They're still leaning in on that part of it. Like the law enforcement still isn't sure about him. So even though he's helping, which I mean, and again, this might be through a modern lens of like, police work, but I'm sure even then they're like, if somebody wants to be that close to the case, who's not really involved, then there's an outside chance that the kids, it's a, psychological narcissistic thing from a killer that they want to see their own work. They want to see how hard you're working to try to solve it, which like I said, that kind of lends into him still being a suspect at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. The characters. Okay. This is weird. I'm going to say something weird, but it'll make sense. The characters in this movie don't know they're in a movie. And that's what most of my critiques of movies that I'm watching, mostly modern, but some, whatever, they're always aware that they're in a movie. Like, okay, the cop comes and sees that painting. The cop, at this point, like we immediately knew Sam's not the killer, right? But the cops don't know. And the cop still doesn't know, as you just pointed out. It's not like, it's been half an hour. The cops now know that he's not the guy. No, they don't know. He's on the suspect list.
Yep.
So anything he does is going to look weird to them. It's like, why are you investigating this now? Why do you have this weird ass painting that has like this woman being molested and a guy in a trench coat, which is exactly who we're looking for? So they don't know that they're in a movie. And by this point in the movie, they're supposed to now trust the guy. They don't. And even he doesn't know, because like he doesn't know who the killer is either. And it's like he has zero clue. He's literally just following whatever he can follow and tries to piece it together however a regular man can. And he's not, I hate when they make characters too smart, where it's like a character will say or do something like, how did he know to go there to check for this and ask for this, right? No, he literally does what a regular person would do. It's like, well, let's read the newspaper. Okay, this woman was killed, worked at the antique shop. Let's go ask the owner if he knew her.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a movie character. I hate movie characters. I don't know. I don't know if you guys watched Enola Holmes, which I watched and I absolutely despised. It's a Sherlock Holmes thing with Millie Bobby Brown as Sherlock Holmes's sister. Anyways, it's a travesty. The entire movie, every character knows they're in a movie and know exactly what to do because they all read the script. They're like, oh, in this scene, I learned this information. Okay, yeah, okay. I hate that. It's like there's no, what's my friend uses the verisimilitude. It's like the realism of the world goes away.
Yeah.
When characters know too much or say things that they could not have known to say, or they had to say it in order for the script to happen. Like, it's like, oh, the next scene can't happen because this character hasn't done this yet. I hate that.
Yeah. And it really hurts the suspension of disbelief in those circumstances when they get to where it's almost meta.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not quite meta because it's not written well enough to be meta. That's where I get like, you start rolling your eyes because, like you said, you need that like Deus Ex Machina. It's almost, and I hate to allude back to this, but it's like the Rise of Skywalker.
Right.
It's a movie that's set up like a video game.
Yes.
It's like you have to go here and get this, and then you can progress. And it's like, well, this can't happen yet because, like you said, this hasn't happened. Right. And then this character's like, oh, here comes the NPC, and it's like, oh, well, and you're like,
yeah. So what happens if they didn't meet that is a Carrie Russell, whoever played her, that purple woman with the helmet? What happens if they missed her?
Yep.
So now there's no movie. I understand that's how movies work, but with Rise of Skywalker, that is a good example because that's sort of if you pause the movie at no point in time, and I've actually seen that damn thing twice. If you pause the movie at no point in time, do you know what the hell is happening or where they're going? Because the script hasn't told you yet. Whereas this movie, if I paused it, okay, they're looking at all the victims and they're writing it down. Okay, victim 1. So if I paused the movie right there and I said, okay, what do you think's happening in the next scene? He's like, well, I guess he's going to investigate the victims. So who's the first victim? Okay, it's this woman at the antique shop. I guess he'll go to the antique shop then and ask around. Like, you can figure it out because it's giving you information. Rise of Skywalker, you pause it. What happens next? I don't know. Well, next, this random person comes and gives this random thing. And then this thing, now, if you hold it a certain way, it shines a light. Like, what the fuck? Like,
you have to hold this over the Death Star's remain. Like, so they it made no sense. But that's what you get.
What if I turn my head? It's going to be different.
Right. If you're standing 6 inches to the left, it ain't going to work.
Right.
No, but that's the problem with the script. It's cobbled together and you've had 2-3 different writers and rewrites and you're a month away from release and you're still reshooting things.
Right.
That's the caveat, but a good script can overcome those issues, but you don't have that. This, like you said, this has a good, and this is funny because these movies came out so many years apart, 1970 and 2019, and it's like, this one, and this is this is Dario's directorial debut. And you've got a very cohesive story that everything flows together. There's a synergy amongst the characters in the movie that really lends to the overall plot.
Yeah, and everything makes sense. You're not at the end thinking, wait, how did that work out? Like, what was going on there? And even the motivations of everybody, it's like, we know that she suffered now again, this is a bit of the Criminal Minds or the what are they called, the BAU
behavioral
analysis. Yes, again, pretty cool because it's like she was a victim of this crime. Someone painted a picture of this crime. She went and got better, but saw this painting, recognized subconsciously that was her incident, flipped and became the killer, trying to, I guess, reenact those events. But she put her, like, it actually makes sense because she put herself in the strong position. She took on the role of the strong person, not the victim. So she was cured in not having this victim, like feeling like the victim, but it went too far that not only did she not feel like a victim, she felt like the killer.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen that. I can't remember seeing that particular take on it. Like there's always like, oh, I have trauma, and maybe they go crazy, but like to take on the persona of the person that did the trauma to you and continue their work almost is crazy. And it's unpredictable because you'd be like, oh, I didn't see that coming, right? Like, it's not just like a twist, like, you know, in Tenebrae, there's the twist where it's like, oh, this guy, you know, had a problem and now he's killing people to get rid of them. So that's cool. That's like that's kind of a cool idea. Like, oh, that's really cool. He kind of is, you know, this is more like a psychologically, you know, a more cerebral idea. Like, whoa, this is really deep because like for her to suffer like this, and then the husband recognized that and loved her so much and felt so bad that he's now covering for her. Mm-hmm. And to the point where he's gonna die, and he's like, no, I'm the killer. And it's When did you guys find out it was the girl? Like, do you remember when you first thought, hey, this is something like?
Honestly, I didn't really get it until he died and he was confessing everything. I'm like, there's no way he's the killer if he's given, oh, it was me. Like, no. Like then I'm like, okay, it's the wife.
Yeah, it's me too.
Her and Julie and his his publicist or the little balding guy. He was an odd little guy too.
He was odd too. Yeah,
he was quirky as fuck. Like they're laying there basically getting ready to have sex. And he's just sitting there drinking. He's like, finally he looks up. He's like, all right, I'm gonna go.
I guess I'll go. Yeah,
you guys are ready to shag. I'm out. You know. But yeah, he just comes. I think he was like in a bathrobe or something. I'm like,
yeah, it was weird.
I was like, what? He's like, what was the guy's name from? TJ Miller from Silicon Valley, Erlich Bachman. He's like just all like walking around in a robe and shit. Like, I don't care. Like, whatever. Right. Like, that's what I was like, damn. And yeah, he was an odd guy too. But, yeah. Then the scene like where Sam is going to look for Julie, him, and the other gal, the one that was the killer. What's her name? Eva Monica. Eva
Monica's the character's name.
Yeah, Monica. So when he's going to look for them, he's got to ask all these different people. And then you go in and there's like, he walks in there and there's like the door with bars on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, what the hell? And it's like, you don't realize what building he's going into until the he goes out and it's like, oh shit, he's back in the gallery where it first started, you know? And then I think that he gets that flash of like her and he's like, oh, wait a second. And he sees her. And that's when you see her with the knife in her hand. And it's the husband's trying to stop her. And then all of a sudden the big gimmick just falls on. Oh shit, he got crushed.
Right.
I loved that. That was such a great scene.
It was.
I loved how he was like, it was you. And that, cause like, when they were first questioning him, Morosini, the detective, was like, obviously Sam was the first suspect, and he's trying to get him to remember and stuff. And then Morosini doesn't suspect him anymore, but is still like, having him come in and for questioning and just kind of, I think he's just helping him with the investigation at that point. Yeah. And he's like, are you sure? Like, think really hard. There's got to be something you remember. And all Sam can say is that this is what I saw, but something doesn't seem right with it. Mm-hmm. And like, I just love this setup because I had no idea what to expect with it. And then that scene happened with, that art wall falling down on him. And it's like, and then how they show us what he really saw. That was so well done. It was like just the whole thing leading up to that point. I loved that.
Yeah, it's really well crafted to like, it's like, I mean, it's presented to you and it's just like, but yeah, it's all the perspective. And it's just because your mind is immediately thinking, okay, girl's been killed, guy in gloves, whatever. The killer's a man. You think that anyways, man killer. You saw the gloves and stuff. Okay, it's obviously he looks like the killer. It's a girl. Okay, she's getting killed. You saw the pictures in the beginning. Remember, there's like the pretty girl walking there taking photos, right? Like the killer's taking the photos. So it's like, it sets it all up for you to the point where you're not even thinking it is a setup, right? You're just assuming it, right? You're like, oh, okay, that's what he saw.
There was one point I made a note of it that it was when the killer went into one of the victims' bedrooms, and it was that scene where with the underwear and everything. I remarked that her. Well, I just shouldn't say her. I said the killer's wrist doesn't look male; it looks feminine. And I was thinking, could this be a female killer? And so originally I was thinking that it could be Sam's girlfriend, Julie.
Yeah, and she's framing him or something.
Yeah, because she was acting kind of sketchy a little bit.
That's the Agatha Christie. Everyone is acting slightly.
Yes, exactly.
Moving their eyes around, like, what's going on?
Yep. Like suspecting everybody.
I think it's weird. I almost think that the female killer is more violent towards women than the male killer would be, unless they're really deranged. It almost feels like she's more angry at the women because she's saying, why were you a victim? Like she's projecting her own, I guess, like fears, insecurities into them and getting angry. She's like angry at herself and she's taking it out on these victims. If you want to if you want to dig deeper into the meaning behind the killings, there wasn't enough of them that we saw for us to exactly determine that, but it seemed pretty, because like you saw a POV sometimes. Like they use POV a lot too, where it's like the girl's smoking and she's in bed and you see the kill. It's like you turn away. That's an old horror trick, right? You turn away. And then you turn, there they are. There's no jump scares because this movie's too old. Any movie, I think pre like 1995, there's like zero jump scare. Even if there is a jump scare, it doesn't affect me because they just didn't know how to do it properly.
Yeah.
Now they've got it down. I think I saw in the mouth of madness. I saw that in the theater. I must have jumped like 100 times. There's like,
I've never seen that, and that's on my list.
Oh shit, buddy, you gotta watch that one.
In the mouth of madness, and what was the other one? It's his Carpenter's. You got The Thing, Mouth of Madness, Prince of Darkness.
Oh, I like Prince of Darkness.
I got those
great soundtrack.
Yeah.
I tried to like Prince of Darkness. I really wanted to like it, but I couldn't.
Well, that one's got Donald Pleasance in it.
Yeah, yes. That's why I wanted to like it.
Yeah.
And Alice Cooper. Okay, here's the thing. Okay, if someone doesn't like Prince of Darkness, I cannot make an argument in favor of it. I can only say that I also didn't like it. When I first saw it, I thought, this wasn't that good. And then I watched it again. I was like, I kind of like this movie. I don't know why. The concept is super cool. It ultimately is slightly disappointing, but I don't care. This is one where I have zero, like, I know half my friends don't like it. They think it's boring and nothing's going on. And then some people think it's awesome. I think it's awesome, but I can't. It's like when, Trina, you don't like Terrifier. I can't make any arguments in favor of it. You're either for it or you're not. Like, I don't know. I can't make an intellectual argument for Prince of Darkness, except to tell you that I really like it. The music's cool. And even though you only see that stupid hand and that's all you see, which is like a super disappointment, but whatever, you got to see the hand at the end. That's kind of neat. I don't know.
I need to watch those.
I loved seeing Donald Pleasance and I loved seeing Alice Cooper, but as far as the movie goes, that one I couldn't with that one.
It's very slow. And at one point you're like, what is actually happening? There's movies where nothing happens and I love them anyways. I don't know why. If it's horror or science fiction, if it's a drama, forget it. Horror and science fiction, nothing can happen. Like, I'll literally watch 2 hours like, wow, nothing happened, but that was awesome. I don't know. That's some movies anyway.
Yeah.
Everybody was like that with we reviewed Imaginary last week.
I know. I saw some of that with the teddy bear on the
and everybody I watched a review of that reviewed it hated that. Like the big reviewers, Cody Leach, Jeremy Johns, they all hated it.
Oh, really?
And Trina and I were like, she gave it a 5. I gave it a 4.5. I'm like,
right.
And everything that we liked about it, everybody else hated. It was slow. It was plotting. The dialogue was terrible. I'm like, were we watching that? I asked her, I'm like, are we the crazy ones?
Do you know I haven't stopped thinking about that? I keep thinking, I literally keep thinking, Why did we like this movie and everybody else didn't?
I know.
I'm not even kidding. I keep thinking about that.
It's just something. It depends on factors of what's going on in your life. Sometimes how you watched it, what your initial thoughts are in going to watch it, what other people had said. I find if too many people say this is really awesome, I love it, and then I watch, I'm like, it wasn't as good as people made it out to be. And then sometimes when people are like, well, I didn't think this was that good, I'm like, I kind of thought it was all right. Like, what was, and you're allowed to give, like, you can say like 7 out of 10 was good, is still good. Like, I hate extreme reviews. It's like, oh, this is a masterpiece or this is trash. Well, what does that mean? Like, what's trash? Like, I mean, Rise of Skywalker, I'd give that a 1.5 out of 10. And the 1.5 is that I did think some shots were really cool and there was some decent action. There you go. 1 point. It's not 0 out of 10. I think Last Jedi is 2 out of 10. The characters are garbage. The story is horrendously garbage. It's too long.
It's shot beautifully, though.
But it's shot beautifully. And in my grading scale, you get 2 points per thing. And the artistic value, the music is good. It's John Williams. It's shot beautifully. I could see what was going on very clear. It wasn't like those weird movies where you can't tell what's going on. So that's a 2 out of 10. The rest of it is too long. Characters suck. Story's terrible. But there's some value in, seeing a filmmaker shoot a good scene that has cool fights or whatever. I thought Rey looked cool as a samurai. I hated her outfit in the other movies, but she looked like a samurai. I was like, she looked cool. But she's a shitty character, but she looked cool.
Yep. Yeah.
Anyways.
And that's right. That's kind of the way, like, I look at these movies is if we're reviewing something that I haven't seen, I won't watch a single review of it.
Yeah, me too.
I won't look anything up. I want to go in with fresh eyes and a clear opinion of it, with no preconceived notions, other than if maybe I've seen a trailer. Like, imagine I saw a couple trailers, but it wasn't like when I saw the trailer, I'm like, I got to look into this because I saw the trailer and then it just slipped my mind and I never watched it.
Yep.
So Trina recommended it. I'm like, all right, let's do it. And I enjoyed it. Me and the wife watched it together. Trey watched it with us. I enjoyed it. Like I said, all the issues everybody else had. I had none of those issues with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that happened with, I didn't go see Megan. I wanted to go see Megan in the theater and I didn't go because everyone's like, oh, it's going to be crappy. I was like, well, I like anything with dolls and toys killing. And I was like, well, I really want to see Megan. I was like, oh, okay, I'm not going to go see it. So then I just bought it anyways, because I figure I go to the theater, I buy popcorn. That's the cost of a Blu-ray anyway. I may as well just buy it on Blu-ray. Worst case, I'll just donate it to the library or something. So I watched, I was like, wow, this is really cool. I thought this is awesome. I bought the little Funko Pop toy. She's up there. I can't wait for part 2. And then I showed it to my buddies. Like, guys, we kind of slept on this one. It was really fun. It was neat. It's not crazy slasher. Is it better than Child? You know what also I hate? Is it better than this? I hate that one. Is it better than Child's Play? Well, I guess not. I guess it's not better than Child's Play.
It's apples to oranges.
Yeah.
There's really no basis for a comparison other than they're both killer dolls, but Chucky is supernatural, whereas Megan is AI, basically.
Yeah.
Is it better than Die Hard? Is it better than Die Hard 2? Like, what are you talking about? Is it better? No, I didn't know. Yeah. But people say, is it better than this? Yeah. I don't like that. Look, I'm watching the movie on its own merits. I'm judging it by what it's trying to present to me. It's presenting me this story. How well did they do it? In Megan's case, the little girl, like I was gonna say the human girl, I guess, the human girl, I thought she was really good.
Yeah.
And that was a tough role because of the parents' death and she had to cry, and I thought she did very well.
Yeah.
So I liked that relationship. But anyways, back to this movie.
Yeah.
Same thing here. It's like, I like these plot driven thrillers where it's like, you're constantly engaged. You're not just when you're waiting for us, like in Tenebrae is so perfect because there's a lot of kills into like, I guess, spread out. So it feels like you're getting like a slasher movie kill every like 15 minutes or whatever. But I liked Crooked Man. I thought it was pretty cool. I think I gave it like a 3.5 or so. I thought it was pretty fun.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen a Hellboy since the original.
Same.
Well, Hellboy. Have you seen Hellboy 2?
No. That's the goal. Is that the Golden Army?
Oh my God.
I have not. I have not seen it.
I'm getting goosebumps. It is an absolute masterpiece of it's one of my favorite films of all time. It's absolutely crazy. Like part pretty good. I was like, yeah, this is a cool movie. I saw part 2. I think I saw part 2 twice. My wife and I have watched it 3 times. Like she's seen it 3 times because it's like every year we throw that one back in. It is so awesome. I watch, and then the other ones they're movies.
Yeah. All right, I'll check them out.
Part 2. The rest you can.
Okay. Because like I said, the first one I saw it when it came out. I liked it. I just never saw the second one. It's just some of those movies they just get by you. And that's one of those ones where I was like, I'll watch it, and I never did. And it's been how long since that came out?
Yeah, I don't know. That one's a master. That was Guillermo del Toro full on. The first one, they still forced him to do it. It was sort of like Batman Returns, where like the second one is the director's full version. Okay. It's like, so Hellboy 2 is like super fantasy. Like there's like tons of creatures and stuff. Okay. And the elves are friggin' badass, man. This elf prince guy is like the most badass elf thing ever. I was like, whoa, this guy's they should put him in Lord of the Rings. Nice. But yeah, I like these. So yeah, I like these plot-driven thrillers because you're getting a kill, you're getting the slasher stuff, and you're getting a good plot. Because usually with the slasher movies, the in between the killings is usually kind of boring, and you're just waiting. Unless the characters are fun, like Friday 6 or even 7 has some fun characters. Those it's tougher because you really need to have good characters. But here, you had pretty good characters and a really good story, and the kills weren't as crazy. They'll amp up as he goes because you can tell where you've seen Tenebrae, so you see how far it goes. But yeah, just like the way they're doing they give you a little bit of information and move on. It's I don't know, the mystery aspect of it is really cool. And yeah, I don't think I've guessed the killer. I don't think I've guessed the killer in any of them, but I mean I watched them like ages ago. So I'm going to rewatch them all again and then see, would I have guessed I would not have guessed the killer in this movie at all.
I didn't, like I said, until the husband died,
right,
or was dying, and I was like, oh, then it like, oh my God, it clicked in. But yeah, before that, I had no idea. I was thinking it was him. I was thinking it was the husband. I was like, it's got to be him. But let's go ahead and we'll score this thing.
So tough.
I know. I'll let Jay. You're the guest. You go first, sir.
Okay. I'm just gonna give it a 10 out of 10 because my thing with this movie is that. I didn't see it right away. I'd seen all the high caliber ones first because you kind of just see what's available. So everyone talks about Suspiria, everyone talks about Deep Red, everyone talks like on the Gialo Facebook group. Everyone said do Deep Red instead of this. Like I said, I'm trying to introduce some people to this. They're like Deep Red, go Deep Red. And I was like, I think I'm going to go Bird. And everyone's like, yeah, Bird's great. I was like, I don't know why. I like the idea of seeing the first one, and I think. For a first-time movie and for the merits of the movie, I do think it's a 10. Maybe it's like a 9 out of 10 if I'm trying to use my system. The story's awesome. The characters are awesome. The pacing's a little bit slow, but it's meant to be slow. So I'm going to give it a 10 just because I'm going to shill for it. I love this movie. So there you go.
Yeah.
Trina?
All right. Okay, so that would be a 5 out of 5 then for Jamie.
5 out of 5, yeah.
If we're doing 5 or
yep.
Okay, so oh man. I'm gonna say 5 as well.
Yeah.
Yep. Same reasons.
Yep. I am right there with you. I'm going 5 out of 5 on this one as well. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Characters were great. You have memorable ancillary characters. Story was solid. The kills were good for the time.
Right.
And they still, I'd say everything still holds up. Honestly, It does.
Yep.
The twist was great. Like you said, you don't see it coming. Yeah, this is a 5 out of 5 for me. I have no qualms about saying that whatsoever.
When you guys both mentioned that when the husband died, and you see how the movie did it. As soon as the husband died, Dario knows that the audience is going to be like, well, obviously that's not the killer because that's too easy.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. You've seen other movies, right? That he knows that the audience has seen other movies. So he's like, well, that can't be right. So then you're going to be like, and he immediately goes right into, where's the wife? And you're like, oh shit, it's the wife, right? And it's like, so and then he knows that you're going to know that. The rest of that sequence is a chase. And that's where he gives you where is she? Oh no, the girlfriend's missing. Oh no, we're in this dark room. Oh, she went across the street. Oh, she's in here, right? And then it's all of a chase, and then it's the very last, and then he saves the explanation for why she's the killer till the action is over. Normally, they would pause in between, and he would then explain it. In a regular mystery movie, once you realize that it's not this guy, and you realize who it is, the detective or whoever would then explain, it's like, oh, wait a minute, it's the wife. Yes. Then they would try to find her, but he doesn't allow you time to think. He goes right into a chase scene. Then the very end of the movie, it's like, oh yes, she was traumatized by the painting and da-da-da-da. Yeah. So different way of shooting it, right? It's more exciting because you're like, okay, it's the wife. I'm sure they'll explain it. You know, you don't need to stop the movie to explain it now. Let it play out and then explain it. Pretty cool.
That's another point when he hits the ground and he's not dead yet, and he says that thing about his wife, and then Sam's like, have you seen the blonde woman I was with? And then she's gone. That's when I'm still thinking, I knew it. It's something about Julia, right? Yeah. And then he goes to find her, but we obviously find out it's not Julia because she gets kidnapped.
Right.
Yep.
So yeah, I just absolutely, like, this was so fun to watch. It had me guessing the most, I would say, the entire time. And I love Argento's storytelling style. I am really digging it so far, and I'm looking forward to more of these. I really am.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll pick one. I'm thinking opera. I just got that on 4K, and that one's got the synth soundtrack with metal music mixed into it a little bit.
Oh, cool.
Sold.
So it's a little bit. But yeah, I think his next one was the Cat of Nine Tails. What was his next one?
I have one of those.
What, an official cat? Yeah, Cat of Nine Tails. And then his third one was Four Flies on Gray Velvet, which I have never seen. I cannot. It's on YouTube. I'm trying to find it. I'm waiting. I've been waiting for decades for this damn thing to come out on Blu-ray or something like that. But I was also thinking I might recommend Blood and Black Lace, which is not Argento, but it is considered one of the first Giallo movie is like the first metal album, right? Like Trina would, is it Sabbath? It's like, are you going proto? Are you saying, well, Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple had a little bit, or, you know, where's it really start? For me, I just say Black Sabbath, it's just easier. But like, you know, it's like same with these Giallo movies, and you got this. Which is the first? Well, this guy did this. Yeah, but this guy was filming this first. But yeah, but this guy worked for this guy, so he knew he was filming that movie, and then he made his movie, right? So it's like all this bullshit you can't. So Blood and Black Lace is considered one of the sort of I'll just say it's one of the pioneers of the whole genre, and it's like one of those Technicolor kind of like old school ones, so it looks really neat. So I was thinking about that one too. I'll figure it out. I'll figure out what I think, but I just got opera, so I'm like itching to watch that again. I remember it being awesome, but like I have to watch it again, so we'll figure out something. But yeah, they're neat. Once you get into there's so many of these. Like I just got Strip Nude for Your Killer. I just got that on Blu-ray. I have not seen that one, but the title's awesome, and it's a genius, so I'm like, I gotta get it.
I'm definitely watching this one.
Definitely done for that one.
Definitely. Real quick before we go here, I wanted to pull this up. This is David Sion's statement here he made on Twitter. He said, "I want to make a very important statement regarding the Terrifier franchise in this ugly political climate we're living in. As most of you know, some of my cast and crew members have a very passionate political presence on social media with extreme and sometimes harsh opinions, which is their right. I'm all for freedom of speech and expression. That being said, Terrifier is not in any way, shape, or form a political franchise. I did not get into filmmaking to become a politician or promote any political agendas or ideologies, especially through a killer clown movie. I fell in love with horror movies as a form of pure entertainment, and those are the films I like to make. Since Terrifier 1, our cast and crew has and still consists of both Republicans and Democrats, and anyone is welcome to be a part of it, regardless of their political affiliations, as long as they're a decent human being. That goes for our fan base as well. If this doesn't sit well with any fans or cast and crew members, that is your right, and I respect it. You don't have to buy a ticket, and you don't have to work on these films. Thank you, and I recommend you don't let your toxic rhetoric on either side of the political spectrum deter you from being a Terrifier fan.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That
Okay.
was an absolutely perfect statement from a man who wants to make money and make films.
Right.
And he's referring to David Howard Thornton, who is a very, very extreme leftist. And some of the tweets and things he's said to people are along the lines that you would expect from someone of his ilk.
Oh, I see.
Subscribe to that value set. And I believe the actress that plays the main character,
Lauren Rivera,
she is exactly the same. So a lot of people took offense to that you're taking backhanded shot. He's not. He's making a statement. And yes, while it might seem poignant to some, that's because they're guilty of what he is talking about. Right. And there's a difference between taking a shot at somebody and pointing out the obvious thing that they're doing wrong that can deter people from paying money to see the films that you're making. And I honestly wish that more filmmakers had the stones to say something like this, like Damien Leone did. And he earned my respect with it. He really did.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I love his statement.
Yeah.
I wish that we would see that kind of statement more often. I think we know too much about each other, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish there wasn't a need to even make a statement like that, really.
Yeah.
No, there shouldn't be.
Like, it's so crazy. Yeah. You know, the other thing too is I don't, this is why I do follow Damien. I follow Lauren. I don't follow the others. I don't follow too many celebrities because I don't like reading their stuff. Whenever I watch a movie or read a comic book, it's mostly in comics where you have a lot of these goofballs. I don't like to read who did it because it'll taint.
Yeah.
You know, I used to love like David Tennant, who I think is a fantastic actor. He's Doctor Who. I love him, but he's like, I'm Canadian, so I'm already more open to accept crazy left. Like we have our well, he's stepping down.
Yeah.
We have our poster child for that. But anyways, so I'm totally I don't care. I literally don't care about anything. So, but it's so, you know, sometimes it taints your opinion a little bit. You're like, oh man, this guy, like, what's he saying all this weird stuff for? Like, it's just making me not like, you know, some of like Doctor Who, and I loved his Doctor Who stuff. So, you know, I try not to follow these people. My wife deleted her Twitter account, deleted Instagram, Facebook, all of it. Doesn't check. She's like, I can't. She likes William Shatner. That's the only person she follows, and William Shatner is cool. He's a great person to follow.
Yeah.
But Damien is right. Like,
that's how I feel. The only celebrity, if you would even call him that I follow is Bruce Campbell, and he doesn't tweet anything political ever. I think they all should follow that suit. We do not need to know their political opinions. Like I said, I think we know too much about each other. And this is actually why I, for the most part lately, don't even go on Twitter. I can't stand it anymore.
Yeah. Oh, I'm a grifter. I go on and post my new video, and then I leave.
Oh yes, I'll promote a stream. Yeah,
that's
exactly.
It. It's like, I'm terrible, and then every so often I'm like, maybe I should retweet some of these other people's things because I don't read. I literally you know how you upload a video, and then it gives you a thing. I click on Twitter, send. I click on Facebook, send, and then I shut it down. It's like, that's it.
Yep.
I don't spend too much time on Twitter anymore. I occasionally troll people on there. I do, especially now because I'm in Facebook jail until Friday.
Oh my gosh.
Again. But I'm a recidivist. I'm like Ricky from Trailer Park Boys. I'm a fucking recidivist, Julian.
I don't watch Trailer Park Boys.
I love Trailer Park Boys.
I know the character.
I love that show. But no. So yeah, I just post links now. It's just links, and then I use the DMs to chat with the guys from the show usually,
Right.
and that's about it. Like I'm more on Facebook and Instagram than anything else. Like I said, I got to post my shirtless pics for the lovely Sherry to click like on occasionally. But no, this has been a blast, J-Man. Thank you, brother, for joining us.
Thank you.
Absolutely, it's a blast as always. Trina, again, a wonderful Tuesday night. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. This was awesome. Great to stream with you again, J-Man. Awesome movie that you picked.
Yes.
Looking forward to the next time.
Yep.
And before we go, I need to thank the paying customers, and I'll have to update this before tomorrow's member stream. Our channel members and patrons. What up, y'all? This is Etep from Wrestling with Horror. On behalf of the Horsemen, everybody at the channel, we want to say thank you for supporting us. We truly appreciate it. We strive to bring you the quality content that you guys deserve.
Thank you again for supporting Wrestling with Horror. We now return to our regularly scheduled program, already in progress. Back to you, Pete.
So thank you, everybody, for supporting us. I got to use that Savage Beach, little Andy Sedaris music up in there. Speaking of which, I'm working on a Malibu Express video for you guys. You guys like the Andy Sedaris content as much as you like the horror stuff and the wrestling. So Trina loves the wrestling content, but we'll do a Malibu Express video, and one day I will finish Halloween Resurrection and get that out, and I'll have the entire Halloween franchise closed up, done until they make something else and murder it even further. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you to all of you in the chat out there. We got some new subscribers. We're almost back to our where we were like a month and a half ago at 2,100. We're at 2,093. Kind of getting a little bit of ground back here on the YouTube. So thank you, everybody. We appreciate you hanging out this evening. Like I said, I got to go to wrestling camp tomorrow night. So after I'm done, depending on how tired I am, we'll see. We might do a stream tomorrow, just have some fun, but I'll still be dapper. So thank you, everybody. We appreciate you. If we don't see you, have a great day at Pleasant tomorrow. We'll catch you on the next one. Remember, it is always better to burn out than fade away. Patreon.com/wrestling with horror.